Hi, everyone. I'm Kristine Ovsepian. I have a master's degree in psychology. I'm a hypnotherapist coach, and I facilitate passive regression therapy sessions and breathwork sessions. You can find me on my website at www.journeystoheal.com. That's JOURNEYSTOHEAL.com. And you can find my book there as well, my first book, and the second one is on the way out. The first book is Living Through Choice and Transform Fears to Love. And you can find all of that there. And there is also a free stress relieving meditation on there, which will be very helpful now since our world is just so stressed and with the pandemic, and we're not even in the aftermath of the pandemic. So I think you could benefit from it. So my book is about initially when I first started this journey 13 years ago, this work transformed my life. And the intention of my book has been to truly remind the reader or anyone that can get to read my book, the power that we have choice within ourselves to make changes in our lives. Up until 13 years ago, I too believed that I didn't have a choice in my life. I couldn't make changes in my life. And when my life transformed through these techniques that I practice with my clients every day now, I just wanted to share with the world because to me, it was just, it was such a powerful, yet such a, um, easy way of achieving our greatness and remembering who we are. And majority of it was also guided by my clients, because my clients would always tell me, I never knew this information was out there. I never knew hypnotherapy can help me with this, because there's so many misconceptions about hypnotherapy, that hypnosis is just for smoking or weight loss, but it's not. In fact, in the 13 years that I've been doing this, hypnotherapy has, I personally have been using hypnotherapy with my clients to help them overcome stress, to overcome anxiety, to overcome depression, to overcome panic, to overcome fears and limitations, to transform a person's life, to open up doors, to, there's just unlimited amount of things we can do, because what hypnotherapy really does, it helps us to dive deeper into the subconscious, because our subconscious actually runs the show. It's not our conscious. And our subconscious is 88% of the mind power. And as we tap into the 88% that runs the show, we're able to make changes. And that's the choice part that my book is all about. And in my book, I talk about my struggles and experiences from before this work, and then during and after, and how my clients and I transformed our fears and turned them into love. Yes, absolutely. And that's a story I tell in my books. And it directed me to this world very spontaneously. This is not something that I said, oh, let me just go and become a hypnotherapist. Up until I was around 31, 32 years old, I was really living that traditional life that society forces us to live, that go to school, get an education, get a job, make money. And I was in the accounting field for 10 years, and it was just taking a toll on me. Yes. And towards the end, it just became very physical, because my emotions were really deep diving into the rabbit hole, and it was just becoming unbearable, and it became physical, and so much so that my doctor was afraid for me. And every week I was at his office with some different physical symptom, and they were really physical. It wasn't in my head only. And it wasn't until I just honestly, my greatest transformation came from surrender and prayer. I would just pray and cry and ask the universe, God, to help me. And eventually, one day within 3 months, I had a very vivid dream. And in that dream, I saw myself, and I looked at my feet up, and I just said, I remember who I am. And I was wearing a white coat, and I knew I was like a healer, but I was not a doctor per se to heal people in that way. And I had this golden badge with my name on it. And the surprising thing is that as my life transformed from that point on, and I was studying for the CPA exam at that moment, And in the morning, I woke up and I just typed in hypnotherapy, and I didn't even know what that was because in my culture, we don't believe in therapy, let alone hypnotherapy. And so I just trusted the guidance because I was just so desperate at that moment for change. And I looked it up. I found a therapist that went, surprisingly, that was a school within 10-mile radius from where I was. And I went and found a
Wow.
therapist there. And took a couple of sessions. And within the second or third session, it felt like I woke up suddenly. It's like clarity set in, which is really what my clients always say as well after our sessions. It's like clarity. Everything seems brighter and more clear, and um, just more hope and more freedom and more opening happens. And within those 3 months, I started my master's degree program in psychology because I also wanted to connect the Western, the scientific aspect to what I do, and a hypnotherapy school. I went to both at the same time, and
Sure.
it was transformational. And the struggles were there, of course. I had to go from doing what I knew for 10 years to something completely new, but there was a different kind of strength, a different kind of hope, a different kind of wisdom, a different kind of flow. It felt like every single client that I saw since I started that journey, it felt like 10 years of transformation and healing for my clients and myself. And that's how I knew I was on the right path, because with accounting, no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, I felt stuck. Nothing would move, nothing would change, nothing would, work out.
Yeah.
But the path, it was just flowing. And I
Wow.
dedicated myself to it. And for now, close to 13 years. So typically with clients, of course, everyone's needs are different. Although at the end of it all, if I look at thousands of clients that I've helped in the past and in the present, we all want the same thing: inner peace, happiness, and love. It's across the board, no matter what the problem is. And the problems are typically similar: stress, anxiety, and fear of the unknown. There's a lot of that happening now since COVID. A lot of people are struggling with the fear of the unknown. And so we just, take steps, and each individual and client is different. Sometimes I have clients that one session can do great changes for them. And especially with past life regression therapy sessions, it could be 1 or 2 sessions that answers all their questions and they're good to go. With hypnotherapy, typically on average, it depends again on the client, but because it also science shows that it takes us 21 to 30 days to make permanent shifts and changes in our lives mentally. It takes on average 4 to 6 sessions, but I'm talking about even clients who have trauma from their childhood, because the work that I do, I don't just give my clients typical traditional hypnotherapy suggestions. Because of the background in psychology that I have, we're able to go deeper into doing healing work from childhood and on. And so it's real deep work, it's healing work. So it just depends on what the client is seeking for. If it's smoking cessation, it's typically 1 session, and the client is good to go. But past life regression could be 1 or 2 sessions. But with hypnotherapy, on average, 1 to 6 sessions. It just depends on the client's specific needs. About 6 days a week, I do see clients, typically from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And in between, I take lunch, because I do always preach to my clients the practice of self-love and self-care. And so I make sure that I start my day with my own meditation or breath work to prepare for my clients, so that I have a clear energy, so that I am present for my clients and with my clients. And then during the day, of course, in between sessions, I take a good 2 hour lunch to recharge, and take care of my body. And then I get back to clients between 3, 4 p.m. to around 9 p.m. So that's the day for me. So in and out of session. So typically when clients come into the session, my first sessions are always 2 hours long. And why? Because easy 30 minutes to 40 minutes is dedicated to the hypnotherapy part, which is the second part of the session. But the first part of the session is, of course, asking my clients questions and helping them shift their perceptions and noticing where the limiting beliefs are and where the fears are and gathering information. So it's mostly gathering information from childhood to the present, and then we go and then I make the list, and then I share the list with my clients, and then we start the hypnotherapy process. So hypnotherapy, as much as people, again, have misconceptions that it's a sleep state, it actually is not. It's a hyper alert, awake state of mind, during which time you are more clear, you are more aware, all your senses are heightened. So hypnosis is not a sleep state. So, but do my clients sometimes just relax so deeply that they fall asleep and they even snore? Yes, absolutely. It happens. And I always let them know that even when you're asleep, remember, it's your conscious mind that's sleeping, which is only 12% of the mind power. The 88%, your subconscious, is not asleep. So it's gathering the information, it's cleansing, it's clearing. It's kind of like planting new seeds as we take out the old. When the pandemic started, I was one of very few therapists that my doors were still open. And I know you asked me the question of where I do my sessions. I do my sessions from my home office, and I do them virtually as well because I have clients all over the world. So virtual sessions on Zoom are typically how I do them. But the ones that I do in person, which even during the pandemic, I was seeing clients in person. Of course, I was taking every precaution of sanitizing my space between every session and sitting far from my clients, and us, wearing masks while we would do the sessions. But at the same time, it was incredible, but not in a positive way, that people were there wasn't a conversation that I would have with my clients on the phone that they wouldn't cry. Where it was just overwhelming anxiety and fear of the unknown. And it's still continuing. People are just starting to, now that things have opened up since March, they're starting to travel and do things. But at the same time, the aftermath is a whole nother, because now things are still shifting, things are still changing. And here and there, people are still getting sick, and children are very affected, which is the saddest part of it all, because they don't feel safe, they don't feel secure. They've been told wear a mask, don't go too close to your friends. And so from children to all the way to 100-year-old person, we've all been affected negatively by the pandemic, and the stress levels are high, and the fear of the unknown is very high. And so that's what I work with my clients a lot of the time now, where before it was like,
And
I want more money, I want to succeed more. And now, and the other layer
mm,
actually as well through the pandemic is that so many people woke up. And when I say woke up, they realized that the careers that they were at, that were not satisfied and fulfilled. And so there was this yearning inside of them of something greater and bigger, doing what they love, which I felt like that 13 years ago, when I was just praying to God and saying, God, help me. I just want to help people. I just want to love what I do. I want to be fulfilled doing what I do. And this came along. Now my clients contact me with those same aspects as well, that, oh my God, my career is not doing it for me anymore, I'm miserable, and what can I do? This is all I know, which is exactly where I was 13 years ago. And so that is very activated now as well. They carry, of course, energy, and I often use them in my breath work and energy healing sessions, because each crystal is just dedicated to an energy center, and it's even easy to understand which crystal could be. It doesn't have to have a specific name, but if you find a red crystal, you can put it on your root chakra, and if you find a green crystal, you can put it on your heart center. And so each crystal has its own kind of vibration and energy. Many times when I place my chakra crystals on my clients while doing healing sessions, they afterwards, they're amazed. They're like, what was that you placed on me? I felt vibrations coming from it. And so crystals are amazing and they're very healing. And of course, they're just energy, and whatever energy you place on them is what they'll do. And so in between sessions, I always sage my crystals and I hold them, and I, set the intention of love onto them so that they carry that love energy to my clients' energy centers. So when I place them on my clients, they feel the vibration of the crystals. And I don't tell them because their eyes are closed. I just do my
Yeah.
thing. And
That's
go, what was that?
crazy.
Felt it, and oftentimes they feel it more in certain energy centers that need more healing. So if the heart center is closed, they'll feel more vibration from the crystal in the heart center. If the throat center is closed, they'll feel more of the vibration of the crystal in the throat center. So the crystals just, that love energy is there to open that channel. So I teach my clients how to do self hypnosis or meditate. I give them easy techniques and tools to do that, because at the end of the day, everyone thinks that meditation is simply you sitting and just quieting your mind. And everyone gets frustrated because in the Western world, we have so many things to think about. Life is happening so fast. Everyone, gets frustrated with the how do I empty my mind, when 20 seconds later my mind goes to what I'm supposed to do, what my responsibilities are. And I always teach my clients simple techniques and tools of how to really do self hypnosis or meditation, because really self hypnosis and meditation are one in the same, one in the same. So it's just, how do we do it? We don't have to do it the hard way. And self, meditation doesn't have to be really lying down or sitting in a lotus position and doing a certain process. It can be walking on the beach. That's meditation. That's one of my most favorite meditative processes. And I just lose myself in the sound of the water and the flow of the waves, and then looking for shells. That to me is just, I feel like a little girl every time I do it. You can do meditation by crocheting, you can do meditation by drawing, you can do meditate. I mean, kids are amazing at these things, right? Drawing, they can lose themselves for hours. So those are all meditative states, as long as it brings you peace, and you kind of because really meditation and hypnosis is just bringing your mind to the center, to balance, where you're not in the negative, you're not suffering, you're not struggling. And that's really what it is, because your mind does not realize reality from fiction. Just whatever you give it is what it believes. You can also sit in the quiet space. I do it every morning. I put
Yeah.
new age in the background, and I just surrender to my own inner voice of truth, not the chatter. So it's,
Yeah.
and you go into the chatter, it's giving yourself permission to come back to the, voice of truth. And it's just constantly coming back and coming back and coming back, or focusing on some new age music in the background, or even, I don't have my mala beads here, but with the mala beads, 108 of them, each one you can just pull one bead and just say, I choose love, I choose gratitude, I choose peace. And after 108 times of repeating that mantra, because that's a mantra, right? We don't have to do ancient, Hindu mantras or any other mantras that we don't understand. We can create our own mantras. So you
For
can do
sure.
full meditation as well. You can just sit in meditation and just repeat Om, right? So it just, there's so many ways that can be done. You can sit and stare at a flame. You can sit and hold your crystals and feel their vibration energy and focus on those crystals. So there's just so many. I just invite people to just be creative and see what feels right for you, and you can change it up. It's not always that you're going to be connected to the same type of meditation. It could be that you change it up, and whatever works for you. I feel like the flexibility is the freedom, because if we become rigid about how we should meditate and how we should sit, it just becomes frustrating. And that's when people actually don't do it, instead of being flexible and childlike with it and having fun with it and finding the best way that works for them. So the breath work is a whole other set of healing. It's like 20 years of therapy without breathing. So the technique, the pranayama breathwork technique that I do, my client is on the massage table, and while they're doing the breathwork, the process that they're doing, it's a specific way of breathing. It literally clears your energy centers, it clears your left brain, right brain, it clears your entire system. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And while my client is doing that, I'm doing aromatherapy and breath, energy healing, and crystal healing, and saging their energy to cleanse their energy. I work with tuning forks on their energy centers. So a lot of different techniques go into each session while my client is cleansing and healing and releasing. I'm also cleansing and helping them as well. And then I'll
Oh,
have clients recently had surgeries and they come and we just do energy healing, because for a person that just recently had surgery, I'm not going to have them do breath work because we want their body to heal. So I just do energy healing and their body heals a lot faster. Don't get discouraged, because in the beginning it wasn't easy for me. No one knew who I was. No one knew where I was. Now I'm grateful and blessed that I have a presence online on Yelp. I have over 160, 70 5-star reviews. I have, if you Google me, I pop up very quickly, but it wasn't always like that. And so I would honestly say, if this is your love, and you really truly deep within your heart you want to be of service to humanity and heal yourself as you heal others, don't take no for an answer. I tried many things that worked, many things that didn't work, but I navigated through the process and I am where I am today, and I'm grateful for it. And the blessings of my clients advertising me on Yelp, that's how I did it. Typical
wow.
advertising has worked, because this is such a deep kind of trust kind of work that you need to know who you go to, you need to know who you're working with. And so, I mean, 60-70% of my clientele come from Yelp, which is really all my clients, not all my clients, but whoever has left a review, but my clients leaving a review. And then the rest of the 30% is referrals. Of anytime my client comes, I end up seeing their sisters and brothers and mother-in-laws and sister-in-laws and family members and friends and coworkers and bosses. So it beautifully just spreads. The word spreads.